Good morning, New Jersey. Welcome. 6:32 here on the East Coast of the great United States of America. I am Don Smith here in the driver's seat for episode 30, folks. Can you imagine we're already at episode 30? Where did that time go on this January the 14th, 2025? Let me bring in the cast one by one. Let's bring in our good pal here from the Jersey Shore, the G-Man. There he is. What's happening, pal?
Time for coffee, my friend. 100. The forecast is 100% chance of coffee.
Look at this guy. He's coming with props. Nice.
With props. That's it, baby.
That's
so
it.
Good morning, everybody. You know, we're ready to roll here. We got a great show lined up for you with a special guest.
We certainly do. That's right. Like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. We'll stream into also the G-Man's Facebook page, my Facebook page, which has nobody, and the Tri-State Traffic Show's Facebook page as well. So never know. Let's bring in the third member of the team here, meteorologist Rich Von Olin, coming in from the 516. Good morning, pal.
Good morning. Good morning. Chilling here in Long Island, wishing I was grilling. I don't like the winter. Yeah. I want some summer. I'm ready for that, Jimmy G. I think we're both ready to get out of the icebox, hopefully sometime soon.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. You know, unless I was in Buffalo watching the Bills. That looks fun in the cold. That might be a fun thing to do in the cold.
I bet you those guys probably live for that. You know what I'm saying? Like they just amp up all season, wanting to play in like the coldest weather. I mean, maybe not. I don't know, but it just kind of sends another level of endorphins or something. I don't know.
We'll get to that too. You know, we'll get to that Bills Ravens matchup for this week, which is going to be, you know, Josh versus Lamar. Man, that's going to be epic.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And let's bring in our special guest, hopefully to be a regular one, Mr. Levon Putney, coming in from Northern New Jersey, the voice, one of the many voices of the former WCBS News Radio 880. Levon, good to see you, pal.
Don. Hey, Rich, but I don't know how you guys are so fresh at this point in the morning, man.
I know. I don't know how we were either.
You know, you all were saying something. I do want to get up to Buffalo to see one of these games I don't know if that stadium will be around by the time I get there before the new one. But, yeah, I lived up there in upstate New York in Elmira for a year and a half. Oh, that weather. Oh, that weather off of Lake Erie. Mm-hmm. And plus, I lived in Cleveland for 6 years, too. So, man, that weather, I don't miss it being up there.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Lake effect, you know, they have been hammered this year. And this year, the first year in the last few, it looks like Lake Erie's actually going to freeze.
They said that. And
so it hasn't frozen.
At least help them as far as lake effect goes, but you know, it's just something else being up there and learning what lake effect is firsthand. Yeah,
he learned quick.
That first winter,
exactly.
You got on your mustache, you know something's not right up here.
That's no frozen mustache, right?
Yeah, so I went to college in Central New York in Ithaca. So you, me, and Rich, you know, all have spent our time in either upstate New York or Central New York or Western New York. And, you know, I was recently working in Buffalo too. So I've had the added benefit of being in both Western and Central New York. So it's been a trip.
I will say it's beautiful. The Finger Lakes area up there. Prairies and all. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Ithaca is right on the base of Lake Cayuga Cayuga Lake. So that's another thing I didn't realize. So the Great Lakes are called, for instance, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, what have you. The Finger Lakes are referred to as Cayuga Lake, Seneca Lake. It's the lake name first and then lake.
Yes.
So upstate New York nuances. Anyway, I digress.
Ithaca and Binghamton, they were like the larger cities of the area. While I was
Syracuse too, same thing. Yeah.
That was the big city. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You get 5 minutes outside Ithaca, like Dryden, New York, or something like that back in the day. So this is in the 90s, right? So you get outside, you see somebody's got like a trailer, like a $20,000 trailer with a $20,000 satellite dish out front. You know, the dish.
Yeah.
Just as much as the trailer.
So, cost of living was nice up there, I will say.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely not Jersey.
What about Port Charles? Anybody go to Port Charles? The Inside General Hospital references we get all day. That's right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Michael Corinthos is in a pickle. Let's put it that way right now. Big trouble. Big trouble. Gee, is your mic on? Because it sounded a little hollow.
Funky? How's that sound now?
There you go. Now we got it. Good stuff.
A little wonky. Yeah.
Little wonky. That's right. So
a little far away.
Yeah. So before we get to the weather here, let's catch up with Levon just a bit for all the fans who were big supporters of his evening show. One of the best shows on radio, in my opinion. It's fantastic. So Levon, let's get a little update on what you're doing now. I know you're doing something with a podcast. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm still searching for a job. I mean, so I'm still out there, but while I'm waiting and talking to folks trying to get on somewhere, I decided, you know what, this will be a good idea to just start something short, newscast with all good news, all good fun stories. In other words, so I'll look around all the papers and check the wire copies and just came up with something that was quick, but also was a fun way to just do a newscast. And, the first few practice runs, I had a little national and world news mixed in, but then I had an old colleague of mine, Anita Bonita. She and her husband, co-anchors there. She, said, why don't you just lean into all the fun stories? You're good at that's your thing, you're good at that. And so I did that. And it's been a joy. And I've just been adding little elements here and there. So, yeah, it's just been fun to have a newscast full of fun stories, some parodies mixed in, parody ads, parody songs, still do celebrity birthdays. So it's just it's been a joy to do while I'm still searching out here and trying to latch on with the new station.
Good stuff. When you listen to your show, Levon, I always said when I was, a couple times we crossed paths there, me doing traffic and whatnot, it was kind of like, what's the playlist? You always had the good playlist and try to figure out the theme for the evening show, which was always a lot of fun trying to bring out some of the old classics, right?
Yeah, that was something that that used to love. I'd get a lot of that feedback back on social media about how they love the music. So of course I had to bring that along. And yeah, that's just something that I always loved anyway. Who doesn't love music? So
exactly
the way to connect with folks and put that music out there that folks can identify with. Some of our of us of a certain age, we can identify with certain songs back from the 70s even, but back in the just to bring that stuff along, man. It was just always something that people could relate to and they love. So, hey, why not lean into that too?
Absolutely. Well, it was a fantastic show. And somebody's got to pick you up, man. It's just, you're too good to be sitting on the sideline, my friend. Absolutely.
Man, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll happen. Trust me, it will happen. We got a couple of comments here. Well, first, let's go to the weather and maybe Levon, maybe you could bring in maybe one or two of your good stories here. Anything with all this chaos out west, with fires and stuff like that. It's been kind of a bit of a downer, watching all these, unfortunately, all these homes getting destroyed. It looks like an atomic bomb went off in Southern California. But Rich, I'm going to bring your slides in and then you and G take it over and then we'll come back to everybody. So let's put you in here. Let me go full screen is there. And it's all yours, Rich.
All right. Well, obviously, the big story of the day on this Tuesday, January 14th, that's been for about a week, is the fires in L.A., the L.A. area. And I just want to run through a couple of things here. There's a cool site you can go to here, the California Fire site, that really, details everything that's going on out there. You can get up close and personal, just getting an idea of what they're dealing with out there. One fire, though, overnight was added. There's a new one in Ventura County now, west there. It's called the Auto Fire. You've got your major ones that have been burning for about a week. That's the Palisades Fire, which is the tremendous one just near Santa Monica, west of there, towards the Pacific Coast Highway. That's the real doozy, west of Los Angeles. Notice I circled the city. This is not in downtown Los Angeles, by the way. It's just, the surrounding areas. And you can see kind of like the geography here where, the extent of these are. Now, the Eaton Fire, the one north and east there, still 14,000 acres burning away. And then you've got the Hearst Fire, which has been, the smaller one, but, nonetheless a fire burning there towards Santa Clarita. And that one continues to burn, but also get better contained. But that new Auto Fire to the west in Ventura County has been starting to get a little worse hour by hour. So look at this. This is crazy. Now you can go to this site here online. It's www.fire.ca.gov. It's a very thorough, very detailed and updated fire kind of site there for the Los Angeles area. Look at the amount of total emergency responses: 20,000 bordering on 21,000, 124 total wildfires, 40,000 plus acres burned, and I just hate to say this, 23 fatalities now. That went up from yesterday. And over 12,000 structures destroyed. So, I mean, this is like we've talked, you're hearing on the news every day. It's just apocalyptic. It's crazy. And it also details the currently active incidents, which is kind of, neat to look at here, at least get, an idea. Los Angeles County, of course, with the Palisades, Eaton Fire, Hearst Fire, the ones that have been, doing the most damage. And that new auto fire just got, going there in Ventura County to the west. And again, look at the containment, though, to the right, though. That's the big key there. The Hearst fire, again, 97%. That's good. At least they're getting that under control there. But the Eaton is only about 33%, and that Palisades only 14%. And, it's, the fight's going on out there. It's been tough. But, no rain to help out. We need Mother Nature with some rain, but that is not even remotely close to being on top of things right now in terms of the the forecast coming out. So LA, the whole area, will not get any relief from that. Well, just mention something here. I was talking to my colleagues over at Newsday TV. They had asked me about the whole weather situation and why this happened, and there were three major factors, James and Don. I just want to point out here. The one main factor that we had was it's been so dry in Los Angeles, probably the second driest year I think they recorded back, in 2024, and they had maybe less than a quarter inch of rain. Think about this, quarter inch of rain the entire year, which is crazy. Okay. So that was one factor, being so dry after being very wet last year and all the brush, grew and developed. Now it all dried out. Now you got this whole massive area of dried out brush sitting there for a year. That's not good. The second factor is, of course, the setup that we had the unique last week where you had that surface low, James, in the Four Corner region.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the same storm that ran across Texas. And then you had typical, which is not abnormal to get a typical Arctic high coming in from Canada, but you squeeze them together. It's almost like putting your finger on a hose, to get it to be a nozzle. The more pressure you put there, the faster the winds. Yeah, that's a great analogy. And then what happens to make it even worse? Now you're taking that hose and you're spraying it down, a 20,000 foot hill. So what happens when you roll a ball down a hill? It gets faster and faster, right? And you got it. And also compress, which causes heating. And you've got the worst situation you possibly could imagine with that wind. Now, just to add here, I talked to my colleagues over at ABC News as well. They helped me out a lot too. Interesting situation where this was not a Santa Ana wind. They contacted the Weather Service, and I looked at it too there in Los Angeles. The north wind they had last week was not considered a true Santa Ana wind, but just a north crazy wind that got up to 75, 100 miles per hour that came right down the valleys and the basins there. So with that combination of what was going on in the atmosphere, that caused the absolute chaos. Now, this week, we have round 2 happening right now. This is not over. It's resetting itself as a true Santa Ana wind from the northeast. And I think that's why also, James, you're starting to see Ventura County points to the west with more of an east component starting to get into this, very bad situation. So, I mean, I don't know. Is there any relief? Probably not. I mean, this could go on for, what do you think, James? Maybe some weeks, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's so multifactorial. The first event, that spawned the initial fires, not a true Santa Ana wind, behaved in that way, kind of a supersized, event, if you will, obviously. But now we get into that true Santa Ana wind. And really one of the biggest culprits has been the lack of rain over the last year, having less than an inch of rain in 1 year, and then not sort of dealing with the controlled burns or not trying to get out ahead of it to many extent. And then there were some issues with reservoirs, there were issues with fire hydrants. So again, there were so many factors in play that all really came together that made this such an epic, horrible situation that all kind of came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, that's the third factor too. You mentioned it. It's just the way that development is going on now in areas that were not developed, many years ago. And you got cars, you got transportation, you got everyone using the land now. And then when it's one thing when an open field goes up in fire, but when a house goes up, there's more energy. There's more the wood, the structures. It's hotter, it's crazier, and then you throw that wind on top that gets it to the next block. You're in trouble. You got problems there.
Right. So that area is sort of unique. It's kind of where I don't want to say civilization, but building and everything sort of meets nature. So there are no like sort of boundaries. So a house in the hills is plopped up around a ton of vegetation, or canyons, ravines, things like of that nature. So it's just inherently a good setup if wildfires were to break out to spread and create more damage. It's not like you have a development and then you have sort of this fire break and then here's more nature. It's not like that.
Yeah, and someone asked me why we don't get that here across New Jersey or the tri-state area. Why don't we have the same type of fires? Now, number one, we don't have, 10, 20,000, height,
right.
mountains and stuff that allows that for that massive compressional heating. And typically when we get a west-northwest off the land, it's a cold wind. It's not like like what they get out there. And when we get our big winds, our destructive winds, it's typically from a hurricane, tropical storm, nor'easter, and we have to deal more with coastal flooding or coastal effects as opposed to fires. So it's a different situation from coast to coast.
100%. And we also have so much more development in the sense of, homes being packed in many locations. So we don't have the open areas in many instances, especially in North Jersey, for those fires to really get ripping before they create and get to more structures and more homes. We're already all kind of jammed in here, so we don't have those, canyons, and we don't have the vegetation ripping through, one house and then, a couple hundred yards is another house. That's not the case here for us. So we just have a very different setup and we don't have the topography.
Yeah, and to fight nature is just really tough. It's
right.
Mother Nature is relentless, and right. I really feel for the folks out there. It's tough, the people on the ground trying to get this under control. But I just don't know what's going to happen, Don. It's pretty tough there.
Yeah. Question for you, Rich and James, and Levon too. Have you heard of? Last year we saw those Canadian wildfires with the smoke. How come we're not seeing any of that smoke heading our way? Is it just the way the winds are? The upper winds are. Blowing
wind direction.
So, right. Will there be any chance of getting any of that smoke towards us at all?
Probably not. Probably not, right, James?
So.
Not the right fetch, right?
No.
James? That fetch we had there was from the northwest that came down from Canada that gave us the plume. This is blowing in the opposite direction, like James said.
Yeah. So I think we're good in that sense, Yeah.
And typically, here in New Jersey, we usually see potentially brush fires either in the, like the Pine Barrens, that area. Last year we did see some up in Rockland County. That was a fairly large fire. And sometimes you'll see them over towards the Meadowlands. I hate to say it, if it's get a dry spell like we had last year for 2 months or whatever, somebody throws a cigarette off the turnpike and it goes out, and that's a little unnerving as well, because that stuff can go up and, it's like a tinderbox.
Right. But but what's unique or different about that is those areas, whether it be the Pine Barrens or whatever, those are big, empty areas of nature that if it burns, it's easier to contain. We will set back fires. We will do controlled burns. We will do all these things that they don't do in California.
Yeah.
So we'll try and mitigate it before it gets to that point.
Right.
So again, there are a lot of factors here that at play that help to sort of enhance the situation and the setup here. And given even just how dry it's been, and we were dry, we started to get dry, and our drought got bad, after probably mid-September, and then we sort of swung around, thankfully, in November and December. We went, in Philly, we went, I think 40 something days without rain.
Right.
So it didn't rain a drop in October.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
we had our chance to be bad here. Fortunately, we didn't have the same situation Los Angeles had, and we got out of it. But sooner or later, we've seen the Pine Barrens in Jersey; they've gone up, and just hopefully you don't see this kind of situation in our peak time to get fires, which would be what, James, probably like June, July, August, September,
right?
Like
yeah, exactly. As we head into the spring and into the summer, remember we had that fire at Double Trouble State Park, jumped the Parkway. So we, whether it be there, whether it be Wharton State Park, that tends to be sort of, the favored spots, I guess. And Jimmy Sniper and I were mountain biking down in Wharton State Park. And I remember it was May, and I legit had like 10 ticks on me when I was done. And because the trails were so overgrown. And then I was like, holy, this is how fires down here just grow and continue to exacerbate because they don't control, they don't cut back the brush, so.
Well, guys, I guess it's been fairly I guess, normal for January at this point. I mean, we've kind of settled down, some of the hype, the media and all the other stuff, is the blockbuster storm coming, this and that.
Yeah.
Kind of, fairly settled down in typical January. I mean, it's 28 now here in northern Middlesex, and, it's January. What do you expect? I mean, the story really would be if it was 65, but, this is kind of normal stuff.
Okay, I can run through it if you want to go.
Sure, yeah.
The weather.
Yep.
Give us now.
Yep.
Back in our neck of the woods. Yeah, go ahead. When we're not dealing with all the, the really extreme stuff going on on the West Coast, but just some wind, just some cold. There are some cold weather advisories up there down near the Salisbury, Maryland. So that gives you the idea that we've got a pretty good push of Arctic January air coming in. Like Jimmy said earlier, plenty of lake effect. Leave on up towards the western side of New York. Lake effects going up there. We've got that happening right now, but that's they're used to that stuff.
Par for the course.
1 or 2 foot of snow there off the lakes, Lake Erie, Fredonia area, Buffalo. We'll see how the Bills game up there and up towards Lake Ontario, where I've again spent many a day up there doing some salmon fishing. So I know the area. Big pool of cold air. The West States is getting the break from the storminess, but of course they got the fires down there. And if you look in Texas, there's some moisture starting to come up, indication of maybe some stormier days down the road. But let's see what happens on the maps. We're quiet at least Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and gradually this wind, that is whipping wind that we're seeing, is going to subside a little bit later Thursday going into Friday. Not as harsh, so at least that's kind of good. And I think we got some rain coming. It looks like this weather maker to the south on the long range, little rain, something different there coming up for Saturday, but it's not a complete soaker. But you know what? Anything we get, remember, we're still in the drought here, So, I mean, anything we get is going to be helpful. And then little sneaky there. I'll stop the frame there. That's for later Sunday after. Yeah, Sunday going into Monday, James. Sunday night.
Oh, okay.
Monday into MLK Day. And also consequently Inauguration Day. We'll see what that thing does on the coast. Got to keep a close eye to see if a little bit of snow for the I-95 corridor Sunday evening, Sunday night going into Monday. And then after that, there's a pretty good swath. Look at all the precipitation in the deep south. Atlanta had 3 inches of snow last week. Some of the areas, Texas, across that area had some snow. I mean, we've been too far north here. Sometimes they call it too cold to snow with the suppression there. But, this looks like the same pattern late in the month. It's just that cold, big dome of air, the polar vortex perhaps taking over the game here for January. I think we're going to end up colder than we should be for January. And that being the case, keep the heavy jackets handy, right, James?
That'd be the second month in a row. So December was below normal, January shaping up that way. And so aside from that little blip on Martin Luther King Day on Monday, after that, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe into Thursday, brutal. So the polar vortex, that's the second time it really kind of stretches out. And we get perhaps our coldest shot of air so far this winter, where I think, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, we might be lucky to hit a high temperature of about 21 degrees for the high.
You got it.
I mean, it's got some teeth, that's for sure.
And look downstream, we're still stuck in that pot of cold air, even towards the end of the month, James. I mean, when do we get finally, maybe there's the zonal stuff that we're all dying to see here, maybe by the very end of the month. But it's been a tough, you got a lot of cold air here. And I don't think it's going to change too much. In fact, there's the, Climate Center. Yeah. Look, I mean, we're blue. We're feeling blue. I mean, it's cold below normal. This takes us right until the 27th. I mean, I don't think that's going to change too much.
No, go back to that for a second. Can you go back? So here's the thing. Here's the other problem here. So if it's cold in the east, guess what? It's above normal in the west. So
you think Alaska,
right? Look at Fairbanks. I think was like 54 the other day. I mean, insane. Wow. So think of those above normal temps. So what makes wildfires worse? More heat, right? So you're above normal here on the West Coast. You're below normal. Yep. I mean, it's like a checkbook. One area of the country gets cold. One area of the country gets warm. So the western part of the United States above normal, and we're in the ice box. So so we're all dealing with our issues, whether they be wildfires in the west or Arctic cold in the east. So
so this could go on, like I said earlier. This could go on for another couple of weeks of this.
Yeah,
I mean, this is crazy. I don't know how to. I mean,
dude, that's why I hate January.
I agree with you. Like I said, I'd rather be grilling than chilling. So, but
exactly.
Below normal for us, though. We need the rain too. I mean, we've talked about this. We're still in a drought. I mean, we're not having it. Everything's suppressed to the south. We saw that last storm last Saturday, right? Remember about a week ago before that Saturday? Oh, it's going to be a big coastal blizzard. Never happened. Went south. We get like an inch across New Jersey. another swing and a miss. And then I'm waiting for the seasonal to be updated. They haven't really updated this yet from NOAA, but we'll see if they put that out soon. But again, just last graphic here. Yeah. This is our drought. I mean,
it's better than it was.
It's better, but South Pine Barrens, Ocean County, Atlantic County, Burlington. I mean, you're still in an extreme drought. I mean, this is January, James. What's going on here?
So that extreme drought, initially, Ocean County was one of the first counties that popped extreme, and you had extreme into the Delaware Valley. So you had Philly, you had Monco, you had Delco in extreme. They came out pretty quick, and now more so severe drought. But if you even look around Trenton and in towards Bucks County, Lower Bucks, that's in moderate drought now. So much improved in that sense, but still the Jersey Shore in extreme drought. However, the last couple snow events, especially the bigger one that we had on Monday, I don't know if was it last Monday or the Monday before? I forget.
Last Monday, yeah, Monday and Saturday, too, yeah.
So Monday's event, Sussex County, Delaware, Georgetown, Seaford, Delaware, those areas picked up a foot of snow. Mm-hmm. So did really, really well. And that's why Delaware is not really much of an issue there left in the drought. But those southern areas, even at Cape May County, Cape May Courthouse, Cape May, Atlantic County did really well with that snow. So I suspect next time around we're going to see some of that red come out of Cape May and hopefully Atlantic County and just go to more a D2 severe drought. So
we hope so, because it's crazy.
Well, guys, some positive news here, because we're going to get to leave on some positive stories in a moment, but, it's staying lighter longer, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yesterday, I don't think the, whatever twilight you want to call it, wasn't like 5:15 or something like that. It was, how about that, right? Jeez, how about that, right?
So I was up on Yahizzy yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we grabbed a sandwich from Hershey's in Westfield.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so
here comes the Merc Chopper. It's not Air 11 and Chopper 88. There's the Merc Chopper again. Boy, that guy's right on time. You can set your watch. Boy, that must be the way to travel to work, right? Hit the chopper and land right on the roof. There we go.
It's like the steam whistle in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, leave on.
Yeah, I forgot you were around Linden. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting the way the pattern is. It seems to kind of just go right over the top here all the time. Sometimes it shakes the house. It shakes the place up.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of traffic, so we'll do my end of the my side of the aisle here, if you want to call it that, before we get to you, Levon. Let me just share my screen here with everybody. There we go. I'm gonna do this. Come on, there we go. Parkway. Heading south at 137, got a lane out there. George Washington Bridge, that's the lower inbound, is a little tied up with an accident. 678 there. That's in New York. I don't know why they always put that up on the Jersey side. 19, there's a problem there. Truck routes 19 both ways in Jersey City. So that's just as you come off the Hackensack River drawbridge up by the Skyway Golf Course. So that's a bit of a tough spot right there. And then we got a gas main on 42 at Green Tree Road. We'll quickly go to the maps. There we go. Fairly decent ride. I mean, it's January and it's fairly quiet. I mean, it's still just coming up on 7 o'clock, and north on the Parkway there, 148 up to 150 is a little bit busy. East on 80, there's an accident here coming in towards 202, and that's right around, oh God, I'm starting to lose my exit numbers. Haven't done this in a while.
That's it. I'm leaving.
That's it. You're done.
I'm done. I'm out.
You're finished. You're out. Exactly.
I'm out of here.
That's it. Coming up to 287. I think it's exit 41. But the rest of the state is fairly good. Maybe just it's too damn cold for anybody to be out there. I don't know, but Central Jersey is good. Down to your new adopted home there, G, of Philadelphia, pretty good as well. Cape May, all this is always going to be good. We'll quickly go to the bridges and tunnels real fast. Let's give that a refresh. I'm probably going to say close to 25 to 30 for that lower. Yeah, about 35 there. The George, 30 for the upper, 17 for the Lincoln, and about 10 at the Holland. Now, I haven't really kept track of it terribly much to see what this congestion pricing is doing to at least the Lincoln and Holland, but dare I hate to say, I feel like the numbers are slightly down for now. So maybe in some ways it kind of is working just a little bit, but only time will tell, and see how many people are forking over that $9 to drive into Midtown. Levo, before we get to you real quick, because I got to get some of these comments are starting to pile up here. Robert says, miss you, James.
I'm still here.
Maureen says, good morning, guys. Miss you, James. There it is. This is the James fan club chiming in here. Or do you put a banner out like the bat signal? Good morning, Kenny, in my office in Teaneck, my good friend Alexandra. Good morning to you. We got Eddie here coming in from Freehold. Good morning. My buddy Richie there with the Corvette down in Myrtle Beach saying that it is 31 degrees in Myrtle Beach. They're probably like, shut it down. It's too cold. We don't know what to do.
That sucks.
Yeah, I do want to see some falling iguanas though, so we got to get to below freezing.
Oh, that's true too, right? Oh, that's always a fun sight. Anthony here from checking in from Bensonhurst.
Nice.
Good morning from Bensonhurst. There's Anthony. We got our pal Sleevy G. Hey, good morning, Don and Cruz. So good morning to you. We got Jessica here, morning and checking in from Howell, and we got Jimmy here, missing James. Sleevy G says, how's everyone the frosty morning in New Jersey? Well, just a little bit cold here, and I can't read anything because these glasses are the wrong ones again, so we'll go with that. Excellent decision of Cal Wildfires.
I think Will meant excellent discussion.
What's that?
Excellent discussion. I think he probably meant.
That's his decision here on my side. That I can read. Yeah, I think it's his decision. Discussion, whatever. It's fine. Let's see here. Sleevy says, Morristown, nice and cool at 28. Yep. Linda says, good morning, happy to be listening, thank you so much. And then we've got our good friend from Garrett Mountain, News 12 is really failing without you, James and Don. Well, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank
nice.
you. And I probably
not so good for them, but thank you for the comments for us.
The best the two of us could say under gag orders or whatever. I don't know. We don't want to have a little lawsuit thrown on us, but lawsuits are fun. All right, so Levon, any kind of good news and all this fire stuff? Anything you've been watching the last couple of days here?
Oh yeah, I did manage to dig up a few for this episode.
Sure.
And just a few hours ago here, Real Pod Newscast, real with two E's. But yeah, and you know, just to go back 1 second, Jimmy and Rich, you all really, it was interesting listening to you all break down how those winds are just whipping up those wildfires. But yeah, and that was something I started this show with, just to say, you know, we're really all thinking about those folks out there. And actually, one of the talent in the show, Mike Mann, he lives around the LA area. He plays the DJ that comes in and out of the parody songs in the show. And so I haven't gotten a hold of him. And so I've reached out to him a few times. Hopefully just preoccupied and busy, but you know, really just thinking about that. But you know, I just said, look, we need some escape. Let's get some smiles. And so I got into these stories, and sure enough, Florida came through.
Always does.
Always. 3 stories in a row of Florida this time around. But you have this one guy. I'll just put it this way. The Polk County Sheriff's Department, they put out word that they're looking for, they nicknamed them Mr. Clean and Miss Dookie. Mr. Clean and Miss Dookie. Mm-hmm. This duo went into a Family Dollar store and played the whole, you know, you distract them while I make off with some items. Mr. Clean, they say, made off with about $500 worth of cleaning goods in a dollar store. $500 worth of goods out of a dollar store. Yeah. And they say they were mostly cleaning supplies.
Oh, my.
Hence his nickname.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Dookie was the distraction. Let's just say she used her nickname for the distraction. Yeah, and they're still looking for this duo.
Oh my God!
So
wow.
Yeah, there's that story, and there's sure enough that other one that came out about, I think last week, about the sheriff's deputy. I forgot what county. Either way, that got caught watching porn while on the job.
Oh boy, look out!
Yeah, he was watching it on his cell phone.
Oh.
When he got into an accident without a seatbelt on.
Oh, jeez.
They found out all of this because of the cop's own body cam.
Wow. Jesus.
Ended up, they looked because he had said that he was texting someone while he was driving, which is also illegal. But they checked his body cam, and sure enough, they said, no, that image kind of looks like you're looking at a phone, and that does not look like a texting chain. That kind of looks like some pictures that, yeah, a little too explicit.
Oh boy.
They
Oh
found
boy.
all that out, and he rear-ended someone in the process.
Jeez. Well,
So,
In a car. In a car.
Right.
check it out, rear end. So
yeah.
Florida comes through, man. And so I have a few other stories, but the tone of the show, this show at least, is kind of like that. I found further of those types of stories.
Well, I'm just hopefully the officer had both hands on the wheel.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, Florida doesn't cease to disappoint in any capacity for wild and crazy stories.
I was going to say the next source, Florida #1, and probably the next hotbed for stories like that is probably Walmart. Florida, then Walmart.
Walmart.
And then maybe a Walmart in Florida, and then you're golden.
Yeah, I love going to the Walmarts here and see Caucus just half the shop, but people watching can be some fun. And you get some characters for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it certainly can. Yeah, I mean, I had one at the shop, right? I mean, this joker. I mean, people just don't know how to park. Like, I mean, how difficult is it to literally see the white lines and put the car in that way? Comes in kind of head on at me, and like I could barely get out of the door. I mean, literally, I am a couple pounds overweight, sure, but man, I couldn't even get out. I barely got out. I barely got my left leg out of the door. And then this clown decides just to get up and go in, and then has a handicap sticker to boot as well.
Of course.
Leaves about 8 miles on the left-hand side of the parking space, but then puts it right on my bumper. Thankfully, I didn't have the Cadillac, I had the Honda, so if he got hit, but
janged up a little bit anyway over the years.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it was so clearly obvious that you didn't even come close. Like you didn't even try.
I mean, if you should be like, bro, head to the optical section first and foremost here. Get yourself a pair of glasses.
Well, maybe I should be in first in line with glasses. Part of it, sure. But
I always love it when you go into a parking lot, Don, and you purposely try to park far away from everybody in those open spots to take the walk. There's no other cars there when you park. You go into your mall, you go wherever, you come back, and there's always that one guy that parks right next to you.
That's what happens. Absolutely. Yep.
I just shake my head. I'm like, right? Everyone's seen that. It's like there's 10 million spots. You got to park right there.
It's like the locker room in the gym. You'll find that one locker that's how far away, whatever. And there's two guys in the gym, and yet this other clown comes in and literally is in the locker right next to you, right next to you. There's two people in the gym, and then the lockers are right next to you.
Never understand that.
Right.
Yeah. So guys, the big kind of distraction here, sadly, we just kind of distract ourselves when, big things happen like the LA wildfires and whatnot. NFL still continues to just march on regardless whether Rome is burning, and literally Rome is burning in LA. Interesting games over the last weekend. Last night, probably not the greatest game in the world. It seems like
who won last night? I passed out.
Rams beat the Vikings.
Rams, yeah, fairly substantial, right? I think.
Yeah, beat them pretty good too. Yeah.
So our ex-Jet Sammy Darnold sent packing.
I think did he throw a pick or get some fumble, or I think he was turning it over last night. So I don't know if that was back to the old Jets days, but
when
I looked up, it wasn't close, but they got a late touchdown to at least make it look better.
Yeah.
So I think now the Rams play the Eagles this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's the Rams Eagles.
I'll look it up for you guys.
Yes, it is. Rams and Eagles on Sunday the 19th at 3 p.m. Yeah, that's correct.
In Philly, at the Link.
In Philly.
Yes, yeah. That's going to be a big game. Yeah.
It's going to be a huge, that'll be a big game. But I think really the game I want is the Bills.
And the Ravens,
Ravens. I mean, you have two guys battling for the MVP between Lamar and Josh Allen. So.
You said, Rich, that was Sunday night, the 19th?
Sunday, the Eagles take on the Rams in Philadelphia. That'll be Sunday the 19th at 3 p.m. That'll be
3 o'clock. I was going to say, because, if that weather maybe holds up a little bit, that could be a little bit.
There. That's why I said on the maps, look out. Keep an eye on that, because that's a sneaky little storm. What happens is the front comes by, a little rain on Saturday, and then you've seen this, James.
Sometimes on the back edge,
right? They get that little sneaky wave that comes in. I've seen that happen before. So yeah, be aware of that. It'll be an interesting tailgate party on Sunday if that happens.
Well, I mean, Washington, the kicker is certainly, saying
Gonzalez.
whatever it is. I mean, jeez, I mean,
Dude,
it's posting.
So just a little bit. So every NBC station, Sunday night, we don't go on until after football,
right?
Football season. So we're all sort of on the set, ready to go, waiting for the end of the game. Because we weren't supposed to go on until 11:30, but our directors are like, all right, we might go a little early, depending upon when Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico wrap, blah blah blah. So we did ended up going on at like 11:23, 24, something like that. So long story short, we're sitting there. I'm watching them watching Gonzalez prep for this kick. And I'm like, come on, dude, you better make this. This thing better not go to overtime. I want to get this newscast going and, and get it done, So watching his, prep into the kick, his hair, the shoe. I was like, this dude's gonna miss it. Sure enough, plunks it off the crossbar. So crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's just a matter of game of inches, right? I mean,
little
extra coat of paint. As we say in the bowling days, a little extra coat of paint on the pin, a little extra coat of paint on that crossbar there. Jeez, I mean. What a way to do it. But, Washington moves on and they've been kind of survivors here the entire season. So a team like that can be difficult to go up against because they're realizing, hey, maybe we're not really supposed to get this far and they're just going to leave it all out in the field, which pretty much everybody does. But sometimes you get that little extra something inside, right? As Gorilla Monsoon would say. And, could be an interesting matchup. So I don't know whether they go to Detroit. I think
Detroit, yes.
They go to Detroit. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think they could beat Detroit. I mean,
Detroit's a tough team, man.
Agree. Especially in Detroit. That's obviously a dome up there in Detroit. So I mean, the weather's not a factor there. So they'll be indoors. But
so just jumping in real quick, Brian says, good morning from Chester. Good morning to you. So who do we got left? We got Detroit, we've got Philadelphia, you have Washington. And who's the fourth in the
Texans at the Chiefs? Texans will go to Kansas City and try to beat Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift too, by the way.
Right, exactly. So let's run down the AFC. You got the Bills, you got the Chiefs, you've got the Texans, and who else? The Rams.
No,
the Rams are on the NFC. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Rams, Eagles, Detroit, Washington, and who's the last one in the AFC?
It's what you have Ravens and the Bills.
Ravens, Bills. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well,
yeah.
It kind of all shakes out, I think, usually, when you get to this level, everybody, the cream rises to the top here. So, I mean, we're kicking along and moving along. And then you got the college football championship next Monday as well. That's going to be another big one too. Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah. So, big shout out to Notre Dame and Al Golden, Monmouth County's finest. Al was head coach of the University of Miami. So now he is, I think, a defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. But ironically, when Notre Dame was playing Penn State, Al was a tight end for Penn State. So made for some interesting sidebars. But shout out to Notre Dame and the Irish and Al. And of course, love Penn State too. But, Al's a local guy and, crushing it. So good to see that.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we got 7:15 here. We'll be on for another couple more minutes here. If you're wanting to post up a comment section is open. Let us know where you're watching us from. We need some more subscribers. I think we were at 801, guys. The last time I looked, we were at 801. So we crossed that barrier and we haven't lost our bot, subscriber that keeps checking it out. Yeah, he keeps checking in and out on us. Exactly. You know what? Let's do the sponsorship, G, and then we'll kind of come back and wrap up some weather and wrap up maybe one more good news story here from Levon. Man, I can't see blank. I cannot see anything. The screen.
Get that guy some specs.
You know what? I put the other ones on while you guys were doing the weather, and I still can't see anything. What the hell is going on here? So here we go. Wait, I got to bring this back in.
Technical difficulties.
Damn, technical difficulties. What it is. There you go.
All right. Eastern Architectural Millwork, the exterior division, building, customizing, all those great outdoor features for your homes, from corbels to brackets to trellises and pergolas. Eastern Architectural Millwork, the exterior division, has you covered.
And Travels with Darley, wonderful travel program on PBS Create, as well as New Jersey's PBS. Season 12 upcoming here shortly. It's inbound. A couple markets around the country already starting to air the new season, mostly out west. Looks like New Mexico, as well as some parts of the Midwest as well. So hopefully in another couple weeks here, we'll get it here on the East Coast. But again, PBS Create, New Jersey's PBS. And sometimes on Channel 13, I think, as well, airs that there. Wonder Woman, Ovation TV's journey. Also, Amazon Prime, you'll be able to see some of the back episodes. Darley Newman, darley-newman.com has been doing this travel stuff for a long, long time, and takes you to some of the best places in the world and in our great United States as well. So check her out. Darley-Newman.com. Follow her, especially on Instagram. Puts up a lot of reels as far as some of the areas that she's been traveling to. I believe that she's in, I think she's in Europe now and starting up maybe season 13. Not sure, but there are a couple episodes here regarding New Jersey in Passaic County, specifically West Milford, Patterson, up towards Greenwood Lake, northern Passaic County. So stay tuned for that. I think that'll be kind of a mid episode run. Usually it's about 10 episodes for the season. So that may be like episodes 4 or 5 or 6 or so. But again, darley-newman.com is the place you can find out any and all information. She's been with me since the beginning, really going back to the Tri-State Traffic Show days. God, it's been 2+ years or more. So thank her for the sponsorship here on the big broadcast. We'll take this off. So, Levon, you got one more last good news story for us before we head out?
Well, it wasn't good news for donuts, but, I don't know how you could be Dunkin' Donuts and not have any donuts, but that was the case this past Friday. And about 4% of their stores around the country, around Nebraska and New Mexico, States, they didn't have any donuts. But no, the one that stuck out to me, I included in this one, came out of England. It's Nottingham College. Us guys of certain grown-up age, we can relate to spending hours on the phone talking. Nottingham College there in England, they're holding a class to teach the students how to talk on the phone.
How to talk on the phone?
Yep, how to talk on the phone. Telephobia is a thing that they've identified and described, and they are apparently finding that a lot of the younger generation, they're afraid of talking on the phone, a fear of fear, and they're teaching them etiquette and what to say on the phone, starting with phone calls to restaurants to ask, what time do you open? I find that hilarious, but I'm more interested to hear what you guys are thinking about.
In that case, Levon, you certainly can see it. I mean, so many of these kids are just dialed out altogether. I mean, completely dialed out, just completely like off the grid, and they're like sitting right in front of you. It's like, come on, man, like engage. Like what are we doing? Like, I mean, you gotta just pay attention.
Yeah, I see it in my almost 14-year-old daughter. She's just looking down the whole time, and I'm trying to get her attention, but nope. Yeah.
You know, how many chiropractors are going to have a fortune in 20 years? All these kids, the neck's going to be shot. C3 or whatever the hell back there is all banged up. You're going to have carpal tunnel syndrome from holding the phone all the. Honestly, I mean, sometimes I feel a little bit like in your arms, your fingers and stuff, just because you're always using the damn phone all the time. When we were kids, I think we're all probably close to the same demo, although 4 of us probably feel like we're still 18, but it was like that was the big thing, like you got a phone when you were like in the 7th or 8th grade. I remember getting my own phone number, like phone line. That was I'm getting a phone, and I was like God, what they call the trim line or the Princess phone, whatever the hell it was. The one that had the little rotary thing on the inside, you dial it that way. Almost like the old newsroom phones.
That were and then if you had a push button phone, that was even cooler.
That was like the Apple phone of the time.
Right.
You were dealing with some bootleg Walmart phone if you had like the rotary dial. But back in the day, those phones were so, they weren't plastic; they were metal. Like the housing, the bell, the rang. Yeah. Everything was all metal in those phones. And I remember when the guy came to put the line in at my house, it was a whole like union thing. Like he fit, like they had some sort of a beef between like Bell Telephone back in the day. And I don't know if it was AT&T. I don't know what it was. like he put the line in like against the wall coming out from the outside, but he physically could not touch the phone. He said it was a union thing. I had to put the phone and plug it in. He would not plug the phone in. He only was there to do the service. He says, I cannot touch the phone. It's the union rules. We cannot do that. I'm like, okay, real eye opener at like 14. You know,
you're like, damn, I need to join the union. You're like, damn, I need to join the union.
And so, well, subsequently I did. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think, you know, at least, you know, the four of us are union members. Well, at least I think I still am. I don't know, but yeah, got a real world lesson there. Kind of crazy. Let's see. We got, Kimberly says, good morning from Hillsboro. Love to see you guys together. Thanks so much. Remember to like, subscribe, get the word out to everybody. And my buddy Mikey C here at the Woodbridge Corvette Club. Good morning and Happy New Year to all of us and to all of everybody in the great Corvette Club. Can't wait for the season to start. Every day we get a little closer towards that warmer weather and little convertible tops and get the classic cars all fired up. And that's a big thing to do, is to kind of maybe start some of those cars up during these cold temperatures, you know, especially if they're outside. You know, a lot of these guys have our cars outside, not inside in a climate controlled area. But all right, guys, so we're coming up on the end of the show here. Why don't G and Richie, why don't you do a little out the door weather here for a minute or so, and then we'll kind of get ready to sign off. So let me put the maps back in. There we go. And there you go.
All right. Well, we're back in the icebox. You know, as Jimmy G said, January, it's just you got to just get through it. You know, the good news, the days are getting longer and we're heading in the right direction. We just got to, you know, toughen up and batten down and just get ready for another big shot of cold Arctic air coming in. Fortunately, no big snow, ice, or many storms coming our way, at least for the next few days. Just got to deal with the wind, the cold. It'll drop off a little bit. I think, Jimmy G, we got a break Thursday, Friday in terms of the wind, not as terrible. But like we talked about, you know, football Sunday this weekend, holiday week, you know, we got a 3-day weekend with the holiday coming up. Just be heads up. Check in with the weather forecast, you know, certainly Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and into Sunday, because that sneaky little wave there could make for a little interesting, you know, tricky travel Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, going into Martin Luther King Monday. And also, consequently, I mean, it's also an inauguration day on Monday there within D.C. So a lot happening over the weekend here with the 3-day weekend, James, right?
Oh, for sure. So a lot of football, a lot of events, obviously. Dr. Martin Luther King got the holiday on Monday. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. So you got to be weather aware.
Yep, and then watch down the road. I mean, it's an active pattern, but, you know, like we've been saying, we've been kind of like, you know, escaping without the major hits here of big snows. I mean, you know, we're certainly due. We'll see if that next little wave we just showed you on the maps maybe gets funny for us here, or wonky later in the month. But until then, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. The blue is the way. That's just covering the north, the northeast. You get occasionally a little break in the action, but, you know, the dominant factor here, like we said, James, is going to be blue. You're going to be feeling blue and cold, at least for another week or two, maybe towards the end of the month. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like a cold January.
You got it. That's it.
All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to go around the room here and just let everybody know what everyone's up to in the next week or so, where we can see stuff. So, Levon, let's start with you. Tell us about the podcast, where people can find you, and, you know, just how everyone can listen in.
Yeah, thanks, man. And Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney, Real with 2 E's. Best way to do a search on any of the podcast platforms is to use my name, Levon Putney. And I'm also posting links on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter pages, just giving people different options to go find it. And I have to start learning how to do some marketing to really get this out there, because I'm having to get my listeners up too right now. But yeah, those are different ways. You can find it on any of the podcast platforms. Tuesdays and Fridays. So that's why I'm going to bed, because this one just came out.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. So everyone go to the website there. Make sure you download that podcast and listen in to the one and only, the great Levon Putney. Hopefully, Levon, you'll be able to work this out. I know 6:30 is a little early for 3 morning dudes here, but for a guy who was, 8 to midnight, heading home at 4:30.
Here now,
yeah. So good stuff, Levon. So thanks for joining us here. And again, hopefully we'll see you soon again on our show. All right, Richie, what do you got coming up?
All right, still doing a little bit of stuff here now and then for Newsday TV for our neighbors over in Long Island as we look for some big bad weather headed our way. And anytime there's something happening, we'll let you know. I'll be there. It's Newsday TV. You can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on the app and online.
Awesome stuff. All right. Last but not least, the G-Man there. Obviously, Eagles playing a big game. They're bringing in some extra weather coverage for the Birds, man. What are we doing?
Go Birds. Go Birds. Yeah. So I'll be back not this weekend, coming up the following weekend here. So Justin taking a little more time. So stoked. The city of brotherly love is all green and all ramped up for the Birds. And, Saquon, he's just been on fire. Jalen Hurts is back from his concussion. So, it looks really good, really promising. So super fun to be in Philly and in PA and southeastern Pennsylvania. So check it out.
All right. Very good. And my little home away from home, Cranford TV 35. We're on YouTube. Please like, subscribe to the channel there, as well as our little broadcast here going out to a bunch of people as well. That's the Good Morning New Jersey YouTube channel. We need some more subscribers. Boy, it would be great to get to 1,000 this year. I don't know. It's a tough haul. It's like, that last mile is a tough one to row here. I don't know, but hopefully you don't run out of gas. But we'll, try to do the consistency thing as much as we can on Tuesdays. Maybe eventually throw in another day. I know we're not the Joe and Joe show here doing 5 days a week, having to go after Jeopardy, but maybe we'd be all a little more awake if we were. But I can't compete with 15,000 subscribers, Mr. Chaffee.
Yeah.
But, we'll get there in 20, 25 years. So
you got to find our link on Patreon.
Patreon, yeah, Patreon, yeah. Take a look at the Wawa sandwich guy in the back. That's the Patreon right there. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So, Levon, thank you, sir. Good to see you again, as always. Always a pleasure, my friend. And again, check out his podcast, Richie. Great forecast there as well. G-Man, thanks a lot. And this is the best part. The G-Man loved the ending here. There it is. All right. Good Morning, New Jersey. Like and subscribe to the show. So we'll see you again. Thanks for watching.